Welcome to the Quilty Friends podcast with your host, Johnny Barfuss. And here's Johnny. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the initial recording podcast of Quilty Friends, Johnny Barfuss. I am the Quilty Friend this time. So we just wanted, this is my friend Dave Hansen.
Hello.
Hey, Dave, thanks for joining me.
You are
welcome.
I
appreciate it. I wanted to have someone here to kind of interview me. So Dave's been a good friend. We'll talk about that in a second. We're just going to kind of go through the format. I want to have kind of a format that I ask people questions in. That's kind of wanted you here to kind of you ask me the questions, or I can ask you the questions.
Okay.
Dave's not quite ready to reveal himself on the podcast yet, but he might be in the future. Right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Well, in general, sure. I don't know about
in general,
all the specifics,
sure.
But yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely.
All right. So welcome. This is the Quilty Friends podcast. I am Johnny Barfuss. Today we're going to be talking mostly about me, Johnny Barfuss, and my journey and why me. Why am I doing this? Who am I to do this? That's what I kind of want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, who the heck are you?
Well, that's a great question.
Oh, okay.
There's really, you're so. I think you're so primed to do this. You have so many great qualities. You're just like this normal guy doing trying to do what he loves to do, and you're doing it, and you're breaking through all of these things to do it.
Man, it's been
and you're just
a roller
awesome.
coaster.
So
thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about quickly. We'll go to how do we know each other? Okay. So we met in the singles ward. If you don't know what that is, it's a local congregation of the LDS Mormon Church, whatever, LDS Church. And we met in the singles ward, which is a congregation of all young single people, right? Well,
Right.
I guess I'm for all ages now, but we were, how old were we at the time? 27?
So we were in our 20s.
Yeah, late 20s.
I think it was mid 20s.
Yeah.
When we met.
Mid to early late 20s.
And yeah, it was just so fun.
Yeah.
From day one.
We just connected, and we had so much fun that year. We went a couple of years in a row, but we would go water skiing. We just lost our shade, but that's fine. We're just gonna roll with it.
That's all right.
It's fine. We'd go water skiing. We'd go on tons of drives. We listened to thousands of songs, thousands of hours of music.
Absolutely.
We'd go to Raging Waters, which is a local water park. We just have so many good stories. So that's why I want you to come back so we can tell more stories.
Okay.
But we'll get to more stories. So
I have to say, my favorite water skiing story.
Yes.
We went several times, but when your dad
flew
his airplane over the top of us, we're on the lake, we're on the boat on the lake, and we see your dad in his airplane flying overhead.
Yes.
He drops a gallon jug of treats.
Yeah.
And he drops it. So he got it pretty close to the boat too.
Yeah.
The guy was amazing. That was so funny.
Yes. So if you don't know, my dad had it now. He had a small plane. He used to be a pilot, and we would go boating about an hour north of here, and he would just get in his plane, and he loved to do buzz people. And so we're there in the boat. I'm like, that plane sure is low. Oh yeah, it's my dad in a plane. Yeah, he would fill a milk jug with
all kinds of
Laffy Taffy type
candy.
things. He was into those chocolatey ones, Tootsie Rolls. Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good times.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was good. Okay,
that's
sorry.
a good memory.
No,
that's great. But that was probably 25 years. Yeah, 25 years ago. So we've known each other for a while.
Long time.
We were in the same neighborhood here in Bountiful, and then we both bought houses. He bought a house first, and I bought a house after in the same ward, again, same congregation. And then we have just remained friends forever since,
Yeah.
We actually wanted to do a podcast together about 6 years ago, and we didn't get it going. I had
nothing quite connected.
It didn't quite connect.
I'm
glad that I've waited until this time, because I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time. I love podcasts. I love listening to conversations with real people. And that's what I hope this will be, is just a conversation with people. So that's my goal. So why me? Thank you for saying those very kind things. I didn't ask them those things, but so why me? I've been quilting for a long time. I've been making for a long time, and I've been working through my own little mental stuff for a long time.
Like we all do.
Like everybody is.
We're all just kind of
yeah
messed up a little bit. It's
little
just
bit.
by nature. That's just kind of what happens.
Yeah.
We learn when
Right.
we get a little older.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay if I ask you, what is your earliest memory of making something?
That is a good question. So I grew up with a pair of makers. My mom and dad they were so creative. They like my mom was a seamstress. Started trying to get the angle a little better. So my mom was a seamstress. She made like clothes when I was little. She made her own clothes. She made tons of, she could make anything. I say she was just so creative that way, but she's also so creative in the way of like painting furniture and redoing, like let's paint the cabinets. My sisters tell a story of, she painted the cabinets in their house turquoise cabinets and orange curtains, because they go together. So that's why I have the turquoise thing and the orange chair in the front room. Cool. Kind of homage to her. And then my dad, he was also just a tinkerer, I can think of, I don't remember the first time, but the eye did something, but I just grew up in that environment,
Right.
And
so your parents were they were both creative, hands-on, love to create, make, do things.
I like the word curious. Like, I think that's a good word, is like how they were very curious about the world around them. Okay. They were explorers. They loved road trips, and we call them serendipity trips. So you go on a trip and you turn right instead of left, and you find an ice cream shop instead of whatever. And so they just love to do things like that, the serendipity trips, cool. But they were also, just like you said, makers. And I remember in high school, I loved furniture. I loved chairs. I still do. You know how many chairs I have in this place, but I love chairs. So I would go to the Desert Industries, buy a chair. One chair I had, one in high school, I painted the chair white, and then my mom helped me recover the cushions with blue and white striped fabric.
Wow.
So things like that, I was in high school.
Right.
So anyway.
Do you feel like that type of mentality helped you as you were growing up?
I think definitely unconsciously it did.
Okay.
Because I had an outlet of some sort of creative. Like in high school, I took art. I took ceramics, but I never even got on the wheel. I was spent all my time in the mud room making the mud.
Yeah.
But I think as I got older, when I started quilting, I think it wasn't until a few years into quilting that I realized how much it did for me. And now looking back, especially, but how much it did for me at the time, because I just love to sit and sew blocks. That's what my favorite way to sew is just kind of sitting down and just sewing without a purpose, or, I like having a purpose in mind. Like, okay, this is for so-and-so. So I put the energy of them into what I'm doing, the energy of that person, or what but I realize now how much that has helped me. I'm get into a meditative state. So the slowing of the breathing, and you kind of lose track of time and space and all that stuff, and it's just me and the sewing machine. Right. So I think more looking back, I've realized how much that helped me through, and especially, through breakups. I have dozens of quilts that I can point to the person that, broke up with me at that time,
right.
Or what I was going through. So
anyway. And you put your energy into that project, into that quilt.
Yeah.
To do something positive with something that was difficult to do.
Well, when someone dumps you, then you kind of have a lot of time on your hands, a little too much time on your hands, if you will, too much time to think and make up stories,
Right.
I love listening to one podcast. I love is Dax Shepherd. Have you listened to that? Dax Shepherd's podcast.
I haven't.
Anyway, he talks about he's like, my mind can go crazy. I can make up stories, and I'm really creative. I can make up some good stories about what's happening on the other end. And that's how I am. I'm very creative. I can make up awesome stories about why that person hates me or whatever,
Right.
that they're not thinking anything about me anymore.
Right.
So
anyway, we're sitting here imagining things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I try to put that energy into something tangible and physical.
Do you feel like when you've had those moments and you put your energy into those projects that the what comes out of it, that quilt, do they usually come out really well? Is it a mixed bag of I'm not sure if I like that one as much? Or this is great.
Everything I do comes out pretty well, Dave. You know that.
I know, yeah.
Just kidding.
That's true. It's true.
No, I'm kidding. So
true.
I mean,
I wanted your opinion on it. I think they're all fantastic.
I don't make a lot of things for myself, or I haven't in the past. Like most of my quilting over the past 20 years has been for someone else, like someone in mind.
Right.
I wanted to tell, the reason I got started quilting was Dave had a baby boy, and he needed a baby quilt. Like my grandma was dead. I couldn't ask anybody for a baby quilt, so I had to do it myself. And Dave is a super sharp dresser, loves a Nordstrom.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell.
He's wearing a fancy t-shirt, but we'll talk about that later. But very, very good dresser. Nordstrom, shopping at Nordstrom. I mean, you always dress to the nines, So I went and got men's shirts, like polo and Nordstrom dress shirts, cut them up, made them to a quilt for Luke. And then we actually hand quilted it. The last time I quilted by hand, and did do we do letters? I can't remember. I think it says planes, trains, and automobiles, and the middle had anyway.
Yeah,
really cute.
It was a super cute baby blanket.
And we did it prairie points on the edges, little triangles.
Oh yeah. I need to find that, bring it over.
I know.
And so you can show
I
it.
hope you guys still have it somewhere.
And then also the cowboy quilt.
The cowboy quilt
that was
so
super cute.
You still have that one, right?
Yeah, we've got that.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll bring that over and you can show that off.
I hope you do.
Sometime.
Please do.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. I think I covered that topic, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I like making. Yeah.
When was the first time you realized that you were going to quilting to meditate, to get through mental health issues?
I don't remember the first time, but I know as time has gone on, and again, looking back now, it's like, oh my gosh, that time I turned to quilting, I kind of want to write a book. I turned to quilting or something.
Ooh, that's a good title.
Isn't it? I turned to quilting. Yeah.
So, that's really good.
Then even when I was making those things, I would say, I really like this process. I like the process of piecing because it's meditative to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how good it was for me, and it's hard sometimes for me to get in the groove. I have to, you should have seen this place a half hour ago. It was a little bit of a, but when I'm in the zone, it's then fabrics flying everywhere, and there's strips and pieces, and
love it.
But then, anyway, so I realized that just that process that I was using of the making of the thing, and then to learn later that, okay, actually making something physical, that's what I want to share too, is that making something physical, making something with your hands that is actually physical, that just is so good for your mental health. So
yeah,
it's weird that I turned to it naturally, I guess, but looking back, obviously anyway.
So you would feel it's pretty important for people to find out what it is that they turn to, that they notice themselves turning to in order to have that meditative experience.
Yeah. So Michelle Obama just released a new book.
Right.
If you want to be a guest, Michelle, hit me up. I'm here for you. I actually did reach out to her on Instagram, but I haven't heard back yet. So Michelle Obama just released a book, and a whole chapter is on her knitting journey.
Oh yeah.
And she ordered knitting needles on Amazon or whatever. And I don't know if Michelle Obama orders on Amazon, but I assume they could. I assume they do.
Yeah.
They probably do.
Yeah.
But she learned to knit, and then she realized as she's going through COVID, all that stuff, how much it helped her with her mental health. And so she's continues to knit today. And she talked about the slowing of the breathing, all those things that knitting did for her.
Yeah.
So hashtag making for mental health. Let me put that up there. Hold on. So Michelle, add that to your hashtag next time you're on Instagram stuff. Add that hashtag. So anyway,
Nice.
yeah. So it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
So you said, what should we, if there's something that you already are doing or you like already know that you love, like I had a guy reach out to me last night. He's like, oh my gosh, I started crocheting and knitting. It's amazing. And he just said, I really like to be a guest on your podcast. So he'll be on in the future. I've had people reach out. Yeah, I've had tons of people in just the last week. I've had so many people reach out and say, oh my gosh, I've been doing this. I'd love to share about it. Oh my God. Well, you talked about something that you've been doing. We'll get to that later. You're like, yeah, if I didn't have this, I'd be nutso, you know?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I naturally just turned to, I've always been into music.
Mm-hmm.
I remember dancing to disco with my sisters in the 70s when I was a kid. And, you know, as you get older and you've got your employment and life becomes a grind, sometimes it can be. And you realize that, you know, this isn't exactly how I would have planned to feel every day.
Right.
Even though I like what I do.
I don't know if we have good Wi-Fi back here or something. I don't know. Just recording. I don't know. Hopefully it's being okay. Please, Wi-Fi, stay with us.
Do you think it's still on?
Yeah, because it says,
it
says end recording. So we're still going. The timer's still going. Yeah, so we're still going.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, the screen just went blank.
Yeah, the screen went blank. I'm sure it's because I was talking.
No,
and the universe needs to get back to.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
But no, I just naturally went to music and eventually just thought, well, why am I not creating music?
Yeah.
And that's when just a little over a year ago, I texted Johnny and I said, hey, we need to make some songs or something.
Why don't we pull out a keyboard and see what comes out?
Keyboard and see what happens.
Not much on this end. It's going to come out.
And then the next day you said, hey, I just got a text or a post from a friend who is starting a songwriting group called 50 Songs.
Yeah.
And so, and you said, maybe we should join that. And I said, yes.
Yeah, let's
join that.
So Dave lasted the whole year. Supposed to write a week. Supposed to write a song every week for a year.
Every week.
And I dropped out because of hardship. So.
Well, you had so much going on.
Yeah.
With all the stuff that you love here.
Right.
And with your, the job that you were working at and all the stuff you do here.
Yeah.
I think it just naturally, you did not legitimately have the time.
Right.
But, boy, it was so great for me.
Yeah.
To be able to have that outlet and create a song a week. So there's 50 songs by the end of the year.
So now that the cat's out of the bag, what he's been talking about doing, we'll hopefully get him to play some for us later.
Okay.
I mean, if you're open to that.
Sure.
He wasn't quite ready today, but maybe in the future.
This is all just very sprung.
I know. Hey, what about if come on, what about you? That's how it's going to be too. Just so you know, if you know me, you're going to get a phone call. So beware. And if you don't, you call me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So.
All right. Back to me.
What are you working on right now?
Back to me. What do you think of me? Remember that from Beaches?
Yeah, what is that?
It's from Beaches.
From Beaches.
Enough about you. Let's talk about me. What do you think of me?
What do you think of me?
What am I working on right now? Hey, I just finished this quilt top. I won't show the whole thing, but yeah. So I made some crazy blocks. My friend had a grandson, and I hadn't made a quilt for him yet. So this is a grandson baby quilt.
Oh, that's great.
And they like purple. I mean, I
love
mustards and.
Yeah, well, I love the contrast of the mustard with this beautiful purple fuchsia octopus.
Yes. Let's give a little close up of that.
So cool. That adds just a nice splash.
Yeah, thanks. I thought it was fun.
Of organic color.
Right. I put a little pop of it down here too. It's very on brand for Johnny. It's scrappy and crazy and.
Oh, but it looks really nice.
Thanks. So I got to get that quilted. That's going on the long arm this week. So that's what I've been working on. And next is a quilt for baby Arlo. I don't want to show that yet because I had a good idea last night. But my brother, Steve, had a grandson as well.
Okay.
Arlo. He's a week and 2 days old, I think, now.
Oh my goodness.
So cute. And his feet are about that long. My brother Steve, you've seen him barefoot, right? I think.
Yeah, didn't he water ski barefoot?
Yeah, he barefoot water skis. So baby Arlo's feet are about that long as well. So he's hoping that he'll grow into his size 14s or 15s someday.
So he has big feet.
Yeah, Barbie Arlo, very big feet.
Wow.
Yep.
He's
cool. Ready to be a water skier. So that's up next
cool.
on the docket.
Okay, so for today,
yes,
on this podcast, what would you hope to share with people that would really bring this episode as a success for you to say, today, this is what's important to me and what I want to share the most with people? What would that be?
I think it's just that I'm really hoping to share all of my passions on this podcast. I kind of want all of the things to come together. So like you said, you're prime. So I love quilting. I love people. I love storytelling. I love helping other people tell their stories. So that's what I really hope, is that this podcast will grow into something that is featuring people, not just quilters, but it's called Quilty Friends, but people, featuring people and helping help them tell their stories. My story is not very exciting, like,
Oh, it is.
Well, I mean, but comparatively, come on. I mean, anyway,
yeah.
I like my life. I'm grateful I'm still alive, but I just want to help people share their story. There's so many people that have the coolest stories, and we're in a time that we just need to get those written out, get them documented, right? And if you haven't finished your story, if your story's in the middle, it's time for you to rewrite the ending how you want it to be. That's what I'm doing too.
Write the ending you would like to have.
Write the ending you like. Write the ending you want to have.
Fulfill your own prophecy.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like
that. Kind of goes back to our original podcast. It was like, write it out, we want to talk about like manifesting and
and look what's happened. I mean,
I know.
Some things have happened that have kind of gotten us closer to what we really love and want to do. So
should we give Dave a shout out? Our friend Dave, the Mechanic to Millionaire podcast.
Oh yeah.
So we both were listening to this. I'm just going to write it up here. Mechanic to Millionaire podcast. Dave.
It's been a while.
What's his last name? Cary. Dave and Cary.
Dave and Cary.
I just saw Cary's post. Oh gosh, forgive me, you guys.
So bad. So bad.
So
we listened to it every day for years.
Dave. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's called Mechanic to Millionaire.
The Mechanic to Millionaire.
Mechanic to Millionaire podcast. So find that and listen to that. So that's what we kind of got going on. Just a more spiritual journey of, So I know I messaged him about a year ago. I said, oh my gosh, I just had to find what was right for me. I was trying to force myself into a thing that wasn't me, and I had to figure out, okay, well, Johnny, you're quilting. That's who I am. So when I figured that out, then things kind of really started to take off.
Yeah.
So anyway, check out the Mechanic to Millionaire podcast with Dave and Cary.
Dave and Cary. I can't believe we are both blanking. It's funny. One of us blanking.
One person. It's just stage fright. It's fine. Afterwards, we'll put when we post this on the YouTube. Sorry. When it gets posted, I'll put a link in there to Dave. Okay.
MacArthur.
Dave MacArthur. Thank
you.
you Dave MacArthur.
Dave MacArthur.
I'm just going to edit that really quick. Thanks.
That's funny.
That right? Dave MacArthur? Oh, Dave MacArthur, right?
Yeah, I think it's MacArthur.
Sorry, Dave and Cary. I really apologize. But, this life, it's fine. Okay, anyway, so we'll put a link to his podcast in the comments down below so people can find him if they want. I love them. Great people.
Yeah.
They're just good people. So we were both listening to that. We want to start our own podcast, but we just had to get here to, this is what I love. And that's what I think you're at right now.
I think we needed to get to what we really loved in order to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to to be in the midst of what you are loving and doing and creating, and then be able to talk about it.
Right.
I think that,
Yeah.
it seems all the more legitimate, and we're kind of getting there. We're getting there. It's
Dude, you should hear. So I'm just going to give Dave Hansen a plug.
Oh boy.
The music you are writing is like, it's bonkers.
It is
bonkers. The songs are, I'm like, let's write a musical. Let's write a movie. So yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
So cool.
Yeah.
I was singing some new songs to Winston last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't done that for 6 months, 7 months. So.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Hey, cool.
I just recorded. Anyway. Okay. What, anything else? What next?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I think so.
Let's share something to think about. Okay. So we're kind of doing little segments that we're going to do on the podcast. Something to think about. So this is a post I saw on the Instagram, and it's from Upworthy, and it says 17 people reveal the most wholesome secret they've never told anyone. So instead of a deep, dark secret, what wholesome secret are you hiding? So this is one example. Someone close to me is too proud to accept my help, so they go to a food pantry. So I donate their favorite foods to the pantry, so it's stocked with the foods they prefer. I love that.
That is funny.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that is really nice. I like that.
This one, I bake food like banana bread, cookies, or brownies for the UPS/mail carriers during the holiday season, since they're the real Santas. I leave them in plastic bags in the mail box. A little for the mail carrier, thank you note. For the UPS people, I put it in a basket on our front porch with a similar note. That is so cute. There's people I see that they leave like drinks and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't do that.
I guess if everybody did that, it would be a problem.
Yeah. So not everyone has to, right? Okay. Good
However,
call.
It is really cool that some people.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
I strive for that. How's that? I buy hundreds of pounds of bird seed every year and keep all the bird feeders in the windows of the residents' rooms of our nursing home full. They all love watching the birds and think the facility provides it. Nice. And at Waking Owl, that's really neat too.
Yeah.
Do you have bird feeders in your yard?
You'd think that we would, because I love to watch.
Dave's into birds,
but I'm not a total bird nerd. But boy, when I see them in my yard, I always just take time to think about, all right, what is it?
Right.
I got to find out what it is and what makes it distinct. And it's a lot of fun.
Something to think about.
Yeah, we had 2 great horned owls in our backyard a couple of years ago.
Really?
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
That's cool. So that hike I just told you about, I went hiking with the dogs this morning. I've seen owls on that trail. So one time we were walking up in the evening, this owl like perched in a tree, and then he just flew right down the trail right over us. It was amazing.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So cool.
I don't know why, but I love it.
Yeah, birds are just awesome. Okay. Whenever I get a raise, bonus, or if I feel like I leave an exorbitant tip and leave immediately after so I'm not caught, oftentimes over 400% of the bill.
Oh.
So I did this a couple of times this past 6 months when I was traveling. I said, hey, let's tip the server. And everybody donate, to my Venmo. And then I just gave a big tip. Yeah. So I actually just did it 2 days in a row.
Super cool.
Yeah. So one was at Denny's, and I was like, and I gave this waitress a great like $100 tip. And then the next day I was at this burger shack off the coast of California, and this kid was really nice. He goes, I bought one thing, and I forgot to give a big tip on that one. And I said, oh no, I want to do it on a separate card. That's why. So with anyway, for one credit card, I gave a normal tip, and then I want to buy something else to put on my personal card. And he goes, oh, I just gave you, I didn't put a tip, so you already gave me one. I'm like, that was the whole point of me buying something else, was to give you a big tip. So then I bought something else and said, hey, let me tip you. But then I don't know if you even saw how much it was. So, but he didn't say anything, which is fine. I wasn't looking for that, but hopefully at the end of the night, he's like, oh, $100. That's weird. Yeah. So I tipped him $100 for my hamburger and sweet potato fries.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
So that's really fun. I've seen people do that on
that's
just
really
on
cool.
like when they're on a road trip, they'll put on the back of their car, hey, help me tip my server, or hey, contribute to, which is kind of leading into what we're going to talk about next, actually.
Okay, what's that?
That very bottom question.
Oh,
wait, we have one more of these. Let's talk about this last one. Every Christmas, I leave a card with money in it and some gifts at the door of a single elderly woman living alone. I know she struggles financially and must be lonely. I like to think of her feeling like she has a Christmas miracle happening to her once a year. So back to the dollar for a waitress story. I just love the good that a group of people can do. So I have this friend, Ben Behunnen, who started a thing like, hey, this person had a hard time. If everybody I know donated $1, what could that build up into, right?
Right.
So my last question, they'll be asking is there a cause that you're passionate about that if everyone listening now sent $1 to support, where would you want to go? Wow. So I'm going to tell mine. Yeah. So, I should have put it in the thing, but I didn't. Oops. So mine is going to be LoveLoud. I don't know if they're Venmo. I should have found their Venmo. Okay, LoveLoud. I'm going to see if they have a Venmo. I'll put that in the links as well. But everyone knows kind of my passion for LoveLoud. And I have the blocks right here. I want to talk about that really quick. So you know that I've done all that, right?
Right.
We talked about that.
Did they do their concert yet this year?
No, they did it last year. It was early in the year. So any of you who have donated a block to that project, so this is an example of the LoveLoud Quilt project. So this is the LoveLoud logo. I reached out to them and said, hey, really cool. Could I make that logo into a quilt block? And they said yes. And I said, okay. So I put out a call to my friends on Instagram and Facebook and Quilty friends everywhere. And they've sent in blocks like this. So I have a lot of blocks. Now, many of you might be wondering, hey, I sent a block in like years ago. What happened to it? I still have it, most likely.
And are you going to piece those together?
Yes.
Put them in a
so
quilt.
We have sold 2 quilts already, raised about $5,000 a few years ago.
That's right.
But since then, I have more projects and more blocks. So we're going to be making them into things that can be auctioned off. We're going to do that. Hopefully, I might do it every February for Valentine's Day. That's a good idea, right?
That is a great idea.
Every February. So I'm announcing it here. February for Valentine's, there's going to be a auction of everything we have ready, and then I'll just do it again next year. We'll just raise money every year. So that's my goal. That's always been my goal. I just haven't had. So for all of you who have made a block, and if you're watching, thank you for understanding that it's been hard on my mental health the last few years to actually complete something. And so I have a lot of blocks. I mean, this isn't even all of them.
You got a lot of great.
There's a lot of good.
No pun intended here, but a lot of great material to work with there.
A lot of great material. That's good.
That is going to be
a good one.
That's going to be a great quilt.
So if you donate a block, thank you very much. It's being used. More stuff to come. If you'd like to do something with a block, reach out to me on wherever, on my website, whatever. I had so many people last year. I had a friend do some denim jackets with a heart on them. I had a friend make, put together 2 quilts. Erica, shout out to Erica, put together 2 quilts with blocks. And I've put together we're going to do pillows, wall hangings, just something smaller instead of giant quilts so that more people can get into something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's a goal.
That's great.
February 14th, you heard it here first. And now I have to do it.
Okay.
All right.
It's in the books.
Good job. In the books. Okay. So mine is LoveLoud. Oh, I didn't put that up, but it'll be in the comments section of this video. And I'll probably put in the comment section of every video I do going forward. So, all right.
Okay.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I enjoy what you have shared with everyone.
Well, thank you.
And
thanks for your assistance.
Oh yeah. Gosh, I'm happy to be here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, so that concludes our Quilty Friends podcast for this episode 1, I guess. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. We're going to be on YouTube to get going, and other platforms in the future.
Way to go, Johnny.
All right.
Okay.
That's all. Any parting words?
Gosh, just rip it up.
All right.
Love life.
Love life.
Love what you do.
Be kind to one another, people. That's all I ask. Be kind. All right. Thanks a lot, Dave.
You bet.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.